afternoon and welcome. Let's take a look at the big story we are tracking. After Trump was taken to hospital, CNN is now reporting that there is reason for concern as the president had trouble breathing after testing positive for COVID-19. As per the reports, the situation is serious and that Trump is very tired, very fatigued. While the White House doctor says that the president was doing very well and did not need supplemental oxygen, he had also received a first dose of remdesivir. Just hours earlier, the White House sought to project an air of business as usual despite Trump's diagnosis. Birth aides privately expressed concern about the presidential election and showed signs of rising worry about the coronavirus. Senior journalist Andrew Whitehead is now joining us live on the broadcast from London. Good to speak to you. Thank you for being with us. What is the latest news that we have? We had a statement from Trump saying that he was going to hospital as a precautionary measure to make sure that things go okay. And now we're getting reports that this is serious.
Well, I think the fact that the President of the United States has been admitted to hospital and taken there by helicopter is a sign of how serious, potentially serious, the situation is. This is more than simply, I think, a precautionary measure. The reports that CNN is putting out of some difficulties in breathing have not, I need to emphasize, been confirmed by the White House. So we don't have official confirmation of that. We don't know how serious any difficulties in breathing actually are. There's no suggestion that the president is being intubated. So real cause for concern, but not for deep alarm.
Absolutely. We do believe that this could possibly be the biggest health risk facing a sitting U.S. president in decades.
I think a health risk. I think George W. Bush had a minor heart operation. And of course, President Reagan was the victim of an assassination attempt, a serious assassination attempt, and was hurt during his term in office. But yes, this is unprecedented, especially so close to a presidential election. It is now less than a month away. And in the event, and of course we are not there, and I very much hope we don't get there, I think everybody, whatever their political sentiment, wishes President Trump well personally. But in the event that he's not well enough to contest the election, this really is a very grey area. But as things stand, of course, we're told that the president has not passed over the reins of office to the vice president. That would be another sign, should it happen, of deepening concern about his health and the medical treatment that he's going through. But of course, President Trump is both overweight and he is 74 years of age. Those are both heightened risk factors. So the fact that he has coronavirus with those heightened risk factors is in itself a sign of really potential serious consequences, though he has the goodwill, as I say, of, I think, all Americans and around the world.
Absolutely. And Andrew, we know that he's tested positive just a day after the first presidential debate. What is it going to be like going forward? We have another presidential debate in about 12 days, and of course the election coming up in about a month.
Well, I think it's very unlikely that President Trump will partake in any future debate, except remotely. If he recovers well, it's still quite possible that he will take part in the two scheduled debates remotely from the White House or wherever he feels appropriate. But I think it's really rather doubtful that those debates will take place. Already the character of the election campaign has changed. So the campaign of the Democratic challenger, Joe Biden, has already made clear that it's withdrawing all negative ads. In other words, political adverts for television and elsewhere which directly criticize President Trump. It's going for a positive now rather than a negative campaign. In American elections of all sorts, there is a great deal of name-calling and negative campaigning. And we may have a much more subdued election campaign in what remains of that campaign, which, as you say, is just under a month. Right. Indeed, more than that, quite a few Americans have already voted because mail-in ballots, which President Trump doesn't like, although he does it himself, mail-in ballots have already started.
Absolutely. Now, there has been no official statement from the White House yet. Do you think that they will come forth with an explanation, and when do you think we can expect this?
Well, the eyes of the world are clearly on President Trump and the Reed Medical Facility near Washington. I don't think the White House, the president's spokesman, will be wanting to give hour-by-hour updates, but the pressure will be now so intense, especially because of these CNN reports. CNN not necessarily being the most reliable of sources for this sort of information. They do have a little bit of an agenda, it has to be said, but I'd be very surprised if we didn't hear something official from the White House within the next few hours.
Right. As you said, CNN had quoted an unnamed source. No other media has come forth with any further reports on this. The Trump campaign has been widely criticized, really, for continuing to host their in-person meetings, the big rallies, and not really wearing masks or practicing any kind of social distancing.
Yes, they have. And I think with some justification, the president has been reckless, I think, in his reluctance to wear a mask and his reluctance to maintain social distancing. The Republican Party has gone ahead with large rallies with only really a very feeble attempt at social distancing, no requirement on people attending to wear a mask. Some people put that down to the strong libertarian tradition of individual freedom in the United States. But when you have a pandemic which has already killed more than 200,000 Americans, it does seem extraordinary.
Right. Andrew, as of now, at least 7 other people, including top government officials who were in close contact with President Trump at various events, have also tested positive for the infection. Do you have any other information on this?
I think, as you say, Kellyanne Conway, who's a close advisor to the president, and Hope Hicks, they are both confirmed with coronavirus. So are 2 Republican members of the Senate, the upper house of Congress, both of whom have had dealings and contact with the president. Of course, we know that the First Lady, Melania Trump, is also positive. But we've also been told that Joe Biden and his wife, who, of course, were in not very close proximity, but shared space with President Trump at that debate in the past week, they have been tested negative. And Mike Pence, the vice president, has also been tested negative.
Right, Andrew, we will leave it there for now. And of course, wishing the president a speedy and full recovery. Thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast.